LeBron, LeBron, you've been through it all in the NBA. Just wonder how you go into an offseason after year 22, you know, when you probably had high hopes heading into the postseason that end abruptly like this.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, for me, since my first NBA Finals appearance, I think in 2007, the moment I got an opportunity to be a part of that and taste that feeling, from there on, every season that I did not make it to the finals or did not win a championship has been a disappointment. So it'd be the same for me, you know. It'd be the same off season of disappointment and unfulfillment, you know, have an opportunity, you know, to play longer and give yourself an opportunity to play for the Larry O'Brien Trophy. So nothing changes for me.
The fact that you're going to enter into an offseason on a roster that has Luka Doncic, that secured the number 3 seed in the West in a really tough West this year, what type of thoughts does that give you about your end game? And you know, how many more years will we see you play?
I don't know. I don't have the answer to that. Something I sit down with my family, my wife, and my support group and kind of just talk through it and see what happens. And then just have a conversation with myself on how long I want to continue to play. I don't know the answer to that right now, to be honest. So we'll see.
LeBron, kind of too along those lines, did you know there's belief and teams always believe to a degree. This team had like that real, it seemed like that real genuine belief. Did that energize you in ways, challenge you mentally and physically in ways that you could see wanting to do more of this? Having that opportunity?
No. You know, I walk into the practice facility and walk into this arena with high energy all the time, you know, and I just try to spill that to my teammates. I try to spill the belief into my teammates, play as hard as I can, do whatever I can out on the floor while I have the opportunity to do it. But you know, I think the only thing is it's up to me if I want to, you know, continue to play or how long I want to continue to play. It's ultimately up to me, so it has nothing to do about anybody else.
You've taken on so many different challenges in your career. Being paired mid-season with another ball-dominant superstar, it was one that you'd never had before. How did that go? What were the challenges with that? In what areas do you think that pairing could be better in the future with more time?
Yeah, anytime you make an acquisition or a big acquisition in the middle of the season, it's always going to be challenging. You know, and not only for me, but for AR and for the rest of the group on how we were playing. I mean, we went from, you know, the ball wanting to touch the ball in AD's hands, you know, either off pick and rolls or off post ups or off elbow catches. You know, but it started with myself and AR kind of handling the ball handling, and then making sure we got 80 the ball. You know, and the whole obviously dynamic changed. You know, when we made the acquisition of Luka, to, you know, how can we change our approach to best fit his game, and how can we center our game around his. You know, and you know, I think it's always challenging when you make like I said, a big acquisition like that. There were times where we, you know, obviously didn't look so well, you know, a couple games early on. But I think we kind of figured it out, you know, kind of later in the season. The more and more games we had, I still don't think we had enough time to mesh. But for the time that we had, I thought we ended the regular season very well to, you know, be top 3 in the West. And obviously, we know how tough the West is. I thought that was a good test for us. And, you know, we had some challenges, but I think, you know, ultimately having a guy like that is very dynamic for any franchise.
LeBron, how did, I think it was the final 12 games you guys played when you had your full unit after you returned, how did the end of regular season but also this series inform, from a team perspective, the areas of improvement for next season?
I don't know. I mean, obviously we don't even Man, listen, it's a business too, so you don't know what the roster will look like next year, besides the guys that's locked into contracts. So we don't. I mean, shit, I got a lot to think about myself. So I don't know what the roster will look like. I don't know what I'm, where I stand right now. But I think whatever happens, I think JJ is going to continue to grow. I thought he had a hell of a rookie campaign for a rookie coach, and it's a lot different being a rookie coach. It's already hard being a rookie coach in the NBA, and it's a hell of a lot harder being a rookie head coach coaching the Lakers. It's a whole nother ball game. And I thought he handled it extremely well. I thought he just learned every single day. He held us accountable. He pushed us. I thought JJ and his coaching staff were great throughout the whole season. And that was pretty cool. So that's one thing for sure that you guys know for sure that would be. And here is a great coach, up and coming coach that would be great for many, many years.
Last two, we're going to end with Jovan and Melissa.
LeBron, basically from mid-January on, right when AD got injured, you guys started playing a lot of centerless basketball, and that required a lot from you and Doe and Rui and then Vando once he got back. Just from a physical, taxing standpoint, how tough was that for the last 3.5 months to play that style, and do you feel like that caught up at all in this series?
No comment. I'll never say that because my guy AD said what he needed, and then he was gone the following week. So I got no comment. I put that uniform on every night. I gave everything I had, and that's all that matters.
Hey, Bron. With everything that you've accomplished, where does playing alongside your son rank, especially considering everything that he's overcome?
Number one, for sure. That's easy. It's not even close. I mean, to be able to play the game that I love and to be able to be along my son this whole year has been one of the most gratifying, satisfying journeys I've ever been on, just to see his growth from the moment he was drafted when we were all in New York at the draft party to seeing him in summer league, struggle early on in summer league and pick it up towards the end, to get on the floor with him in preseason for the first time. I believe it was in Palm Springs, to getting on the court versus this Minnesota team, game 1. And just to see what he was able to do every single day by just channeling his mind and his work, just putting in the work and just seeing how much he grew from, like I said, the moment from he was drafted to, doing what he was doing in the G, getting opportunities with us. Super proud of the shortcomings that he had when we played in Philly. I thought that built so much character. And it showed when we sat out a lot of guys at that home game when we played Milwaukee, and you can ask anybody, any one of his teammates, any one of the coaches. He's just a joy to be around. And I have to say that I have a lot to do with that. Appreciate it.
Hey, Jaxson, how do you handle the disappointment from getting the 3 seed and things going pretty well throughout the season as a whole collectively, and that to kind of almost suddenly being out of round 1 of the playoffs? How do you process that as an individual and kind of what your role and everything was?
Yeah, I mean, just doesn't feel real. I feel like we had a great team coming along, and after the All-Star break, I feel like we started getting it clicking a lot. So it just doesn't even feel real. The season's over.
When you were in the starting lineup in the regular season, the Lakers went 10-3. Very quickly in this series, JJ went away from you. How was that communicated to you? Did you understand the decision? And what was the feeling like to, especially tonight, not to get a chance to help the team?
Yeah, I mean, they told me they were up straight with me, just saying just to stay ready, and they're going to try some other things out. So, I mean, that's what coach's decision. So I respect that always.
Jaxson, in which ways do you feel like you grew this season, and what do you think you showed this year?
I feel like I grew in a good amount of certain ways on the defensive end, just stepping up, showing I can compete at that high level and not just be a backup for a team. I felt like I showed I could be out there playing more. And then obviously there's still a ton of things I need to work on, but I mean, I felt pretty good leaving the season.
Obviously, you'll be an unrestricted free agent going into this offseason. I guess what are your initial thoughts of your free agency, and how, if it did, how did the way the season ended impact your thoughts going into free agency?
Yeah, I haven't been thinking about that at all. I've just been focused on this playoff series, and so, I mean, I ain't even had time to process that yet, so we'll see.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate y'all.
Austin, I guess games 3 and 4 and tonight all close in the fourth quarter, and you guys unable to prevail, and it's kind of all of a sudden the series is over. How do you kind of gauge that emotionally relative to what you're hoping kind of expectation was when round 1 started?
Obviously, this wasn't our expectation, our goal. But to be honest with you, as a group, we just didn't play good enough to, beat them. That's really it.
When you look ahead to the offseason, recognize that I think you, Luka, and LeBron only played 21 games together. What do you think you need most to reach your full potential, whether that be something from the outside or time to gel?
Just continuing to, grow together. Obviously, they're unbelievable basketball players, and the more time you spend, not with just them, but the whole unit, you're just going to become, more cohesive, more together, know exactly what, you're going to do every possession when things get tough, when you're rolling, how you want to play the game. I thought we did a really good job of that in the regular season, and we just, like I said, we just didn't play good enough in this series.
Austin, kind of a big picture question, if you'll allow it. Over the course of the season, there's been different moments where, I think right before the Luka trade, where the team was feeling really good about itself. After the Dallas game, where the team was feeling really good about itself and the different version of it. Where do you think it kind of just didn't click fully for you guys? Is there one or two things you can put your finger on as to say like why maybe that belief went unrealized?
I mean, I think there was. I really just don't think we played good. You give credit to Minnesota. They, played a really good series. But I think it come down to just us not being us. And obviously, I didn't have the series that I wanted to have. So, you can, point the finger at me. I really don't care. I wasn't, good enough to help us be successful. And, I wish I could have, did more, but I didn't. I struggled. But, you live and you learn. And I can guarantee that I'll, get back to work this off season and, be better.
Austin, you just touched on you're playing the series, but taking a step back, how do you view this season overall for you? I know you don't like talking about yourself, but just in terms of your growth and just what you showed this year.
I had a lot of fun. Forget the basketball. I enjoyed every single day going to work, being around these guys, the coaching staff, training staff, weight staff, everybody in the organization, and then, from game 1 to game 82, and now I just had a lot of fun. This is I always speak about how growing up playing with your best friends in high school, like sometimes nothing will ever top that because you've been able to, play high school basketball with guys that you grew up with your whole life. But this is right up there with all that. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I have fun regardless of, statistics or anything. I enjoy going to work every single day and, putting in the work and going to battle with these guys.
Excuse me, Austin, kind of going back to a question that you were asked earlier, how did the last couple of months, this playoff series, how did I guess inform you of what to work on going to this offseason about what's necessary to complement the LeBron and Luka and the lineups you guys have?
Just play better. I feel like I'm talented enough to do that, as I feel like I've proved over and over again throughout my whole life. There's millions of people that would have never known me if I was never in this position, because quite frankly nobody thought I was ever going to be in this position. So I've continued to prove myself over and over again, and I'm going to go to work and do the same thing next year. That's really it. I just needed to be better, and I wasn't, and unfortunately I can't go back and start the series over.
Rui, how do you mentally handle this? I start right here. Going into the off season, when you guys had a lot of hope and belief in what you're going to be able to do, and to have it kind of end in this way, and just what do you feel like will stand out to you the most as you head into the summer?
I mean, it sucks, We definitely didn't expect Jazz to get eliminated in the first round. We are pretty, we felt very good about it before this series started. So, yeah, it's kind of sad,
What do you think this team needs in order to match up the expectations you have for yourself with the performance in the postseason?
I mean, you guys can see the score, We didn't get the rebound, We need somebody to get rebounds. I gotta be one of them. Start more engaging the rebounds, of course. I can't just be face-to-face, boxing out, Gobert the whole game, I can get a rebound, that's the whole thing. He's 7'2", 7'5" wingspan, whatever. He's a big man. And the problem was, I think, because we're trying to help Gobert put on two guys, and the other guy, diving into offense, rebound, then it's easy, And it's not only him. The Gobert is not only the guy that can get rebound from them. Most of the other starting five, except Mike Conley, can get a rebound. So I think that was the game for us.
Rui, I know you just mentioned the rebounding, but as someone who is playing out of position a lot and playing up at center, or depending on the matchups, like how physically taxing was that with you guys playing so small for really since mid-January on?
It's tough, Unfortunately, I'm not a 5-man. I'm 6'8", 240. It's tough, It is what it is, The coaches trust me to put me in the situation. I try to fight through that, but there's a limit to it. Like I said, that's only I can do is literally facing God, and maybe I can tap. I can't just go get rebound like that. So it's tough, but that was our team situation this year, and it is what it is. And yeah, I don't know.
Rui, when you take a step back, this is, I think, fair to say, the most consistent role you've had on the best team you've played for up to this point in your career. What did JJ and his coaching staff believe do for you in the season that you had?
I think that from the start, they trust me on our offense, defense, everything. They kept telling me shoot more threes, be aggressive on defense. be aggressive on the rebound, basically everything. You know, I think those stuff, it helps me. You know, as a basketball player, of course, and I think I was able to help this team to get to this point. So, yeah, I'm thankful to that.
Hey, Dorian, the way that things worked out, you know, ended up playing pretty small for a lot of the portion of the season, and it worked well enough to get you to the 3 seed. How do you feel like that, as a part of kind of this series, the challenge of that against this specific opponent, and just how did you kind of process how this round 1 series went?
Well, the lineup was, we struggled tonight, but overall I feel like we've been pretty good, especially leading to the playoffs. They did a good job of, combating the small lineup, and that's crashing. They big. Jaden McDaniels like 6'9", 6'10", and he crashing hard. You got Julius crashing hard, and Rui. So Rudy, it was just a tough matchup. He got to go in tonight. I felt like we did well on him, the rest of the series, but tonight he took over.
And then just how do you reflect on your first year here, the trade, and then Luka's acquisition, and as you look forward into the summer and next season, Dorian?
Being here has been amazing. Making it to the 3 seed been fun. Luka coming in February was, a big surprise to many, especially me. Happy to be back with my dog. Just mad right now though that our season ended.
Dorian, you have a player option for next season. Have you thought about that at all?
Nah, not really. Just trying to get to the second round, man. I worry about that, around the draft part and summer league and all that stuff. So, I know if we're the one, it'll handle itself. So.
Dorian, you mentioned wanting to get to the second round. If you do return to the same, pick up the player option, what did this series, I guess, tell you or inform you about what this team needs to make sure you guys reach your goal or get closer to it next season?
We just probably need a little bit more time together, first of all. Sometimes when you got that time, you can really get on each other without, thinking about somebody else's feelings. And they was the better team this series, to be honest. They shot 10 more times each game. They won a possession game for sure.
Dorian, I know it's fresh right now, the season being over, but in the offseason, what are the aspects of your game you want to improve and work on?
I just continue to be me. Shoot the ball when I'm open, shoot with confidence, attack closeouts. That's about it. I'm 30. I'm 31 years old. I'm kind of stuck who I am. So I would say just get to know the guys around here a lot more. That's about it.
DFS, you say you talked about it's your second time being with Luka. Can you talk about the growth that you both had from the first stint with him to this experience with him as well?
You just hear him talking a lot more. The second time around, he definitely a better communicator than what he was when we was in Dallas. I know he mad right now. That the season ain't go how we want it, but we healthy. All we could do is focus on next year, to be honest. But he top 5 player in the league. He for sure a bigger star than what he was when I was with him 3 years ago. Yeah, appreciate y'all.
NBA